After seeing some of our favorite characters suffer near-death experiences, Wednesday's second season has come to a fiery end, which means the current hype for season 3 of this gothic horror series is more palpable than ever. Since the season 2 finale, we've all been collectively buzzing about the unresolved enigmas, jaw-dropping cliffhangers, and the emotional suspenders. But the actual question is whether we even get a third season in the first place. To answer that, hell yeah! Another season is definitely on the way, meaning another juicy Tim Burton-esque journey of creepy, unsettling, mind-screwing plots awaits Wednesday Addams. The latest season really ended in a bittersweet and taunting sort of way, where we see Wednesday take on some familiar foes, such as the Hyde, and face new villains too, some of who were hiding in plain sight all along. But with Enid's final sacrifice, the strange revelations about Isaac Knight, and even Lady Gaga's unannounced 5-second cameo, all of which left us in the dark more than ever before, we can't help but wonder what morbid surprises await us next. Even if the writing and filming is yet to start on the third season, that certainly hasn't stopped us from compiling everything we know about the upcoming season, putting out our own detective board. So, without wasting another moment, let's discuss what we can potentially expect from Wednesday in season 3. That said, before we get into stuff, we do have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to the channel. It's a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Will Enid ever manage to come back to her human form? The most bittersweet journey of season 2 was probably that of Enid Sinclair, Wednesday's ferociously loyal best friend. By the season finale, Enid had been confirmed as a permanent alpha werewolf, and this shift sort of left her emotionally and physically detached. After witnessing Enid enter her werewolf form without a full moon present, Miss Capri explains to her that she might be an alpha werewolf, which definitely makes her incredibly powerful, but overall, it's still scary news. It's a gift and a curse, as her teacher and fellow werewolf warns her, because unlike other mainstream shows, in Wednesday, if an alpha wolfs out under a full moon, they get stuck in that form forever and are doomed to be hunted and killed by their fellow werewolves because they fear an alpha. Enid's primary fear upon hearing the news is that she'll be alone forever. There's at least one silver lining in that, as Wednesday promises to come find her if the worst does happen. At the end of season 2, when Wednesday is buried alive by Isaac, Enid and Agnes fail to dig up the dirt quickly enough to save her until Enid decides to transform on a full moon night and sacrifice herself instead of just letting her friend die. As a wolf, Enid excavates Wednesday by clawing the sand from her grave before sprinting off into the night. We were all grieving for Enid as she offered a raw, guttural sacrifice to save Wednesday, essentially leaving the existence she had. Wednesday didn't exactly have much time on hand after getting out of the grave, so she asks Agnes to keep track of Enid. After saving Pugsley from Isaac, Francois, and Tyler, Wednesday sets off with Uncle Fester and Thing on a road trip to spend her summer searching for Enid. Agnes gives her her first lead after procuring photos from a wildlife camera located near the Canadian border, showing that Enid was heading north. There's also a heartbreaking scene where Enid's all alone in the woods, all sad and morose, which honestly broke our heart. But what happens when Wednesday ultimately finds Enid? Are we totally sure she's an alpha? Because Capri did say that she might be one. We also saw how Enid wolfed out under a full moon and returned to normal in season 1. Maybe that was different since it was her first time. If she is indeed an alpha, is she truly stuck in her wolf form forever? That seems hard to believe, especially with Emma Myers, who plays Enid's human form, such a big part of the Netflix gothic horror. Maybe there's some ancient outcast text that Wednesday can consult to undo everything and save her friend from the cursed fate of being a lone wolf forevermore. We think it goes without saying that Wednesday will be able to successfully track down her best friend and help her out, but the main question is, if Enid does come back, will she remain the same quirky, fun-loving roommate, or will we see her become an alpha with a darker life after having to spend a long time running away from her pack all by herself? Only time will tell.
Promise?
How will Wednesday deal with the idea of potentially losing her best friend? We've always known Wednesday to be the queen of emotional detachment, but the end of season 2 proved that even she has limits. For the first time ever, Wednesday was forced to confront the real fear of losing the person closest to her heart. That subtle tear during the finale was not just for show, as it cracked the icy armor she's so carefully built. Wednesday season 3 could very well explore how the pigtailed Addams reacts to loss and love in her own twisted way. It goes without saying that she'll have to surpass a considerable amount of hurdles before getting to Enid and then finding a way to transform her back into her human form. During this time, we might also see her deal with the idea of potentially losing Enid for good. Given how close the two got during their time together at Nevermore, it's possible we might get to see Wednesday shed a tear at the thought of losing her closest friend, and that's something we should all be prepared for with tissues in hand. What's next for our favorite Hyde? Tyler's long path throughout Season 1 and 2 had us all biting our lips. He has certainly been through a lot, especially with his mother making her way back into his life and then leaving again. After learning that his own mother was willing to sacrifice him in order to save herself from her own Hyde abilities, who faced off in combat, which led to her taking her own life lest she continue suffering. If all of that wasn't tragic enough, add in the fact that Tyler is doomed to die now that he's killed his master, so things are looking more dire than ever. Even though Wednesday freed him from Isaac's schemes to rid him of his monstrous side, Tyler's Hyde powers are still as erratic and deadly as before. But now that he's free, Tyler take the road to redemption, or will his animalistic alter ego get the better of him, even greater ferocity? Wednesday Season 3 definitely has to establish if Tyler will evolve to become an anti-hero, or if he's simply predestined to remain Wednesday's biggest arch-enemy. Moreover, there's that whole cliffhanger with Isadora Capri in the mix. It was clear from the moment she was introduced that Miss Capri had a big secret. While she didn't turn out to be involved in any of the wrongdoings at Willow Hill, Wednesday eventually discovers, by snooping in her desk, that she does have a notorious past with Hydes, as Isadora once fell in love with a Hyde without being aware of his real identity, and he nearly killed her. But there's clearly more to the story because in the Season 2 finale, we see how Capri finds Tyler standing at his parents' grave. With Thornhill and Francois both dead, Tyler already doesn't have much time left, as Capri told Wednesday earlier in the season that male Hydes can't survive long without a master. Also offers Tyler an alternative to his impending doom, tells him of some kind of secret community she can take him to, where Hydes transcend their need for a master in order to exist. Naturally, Tyler is suspicious after having Thornhill and his mother abuse him to take control of his Hyde form, so after hearing how Capri wants to save him, Tyler tells her that he knows she's a werewolf and didn't want another mother or master. But Capri wasn't interested in all that, as she tells him that there was a pack of Hydes he could join and reveals how her father too was a Hyde. This is certainly an interesting development because it now means that Capri is a Hyde and werewolf hybrid. But given that Capri promised Tyler that she had somewhere for him to live the rest of his life surrounded by others like him, Tyler takes up the offer and the two then drive away from Nevermore. Right off the bat, at this moment, it's difficult to say whether Capri can follow through on her promise. Similarly, we have no idea if Tyler has any chance at happiness. More importantly, where are these Hydes even hiding, and how has Capri worked around their condition to keep them alive? Will she really help Tyler, or try to take advantage of his vulnerability before setting him back onto a dark path? Is it personal agenda for her, or just good-natured altruism? Season 3 will definitely have to come with some heavy-hitting answers. Why is Hester Frump lying to her family about Ophelia Frump's whereabouts, and why does Ophelia want to kill Wednesday? All season, we've been hearing about the mysterious Aunt Ophelia, who's been described as missing by Morticia. Apparently, Ophelia began having psychic blackouts, which drove her mad after she abused her gift. It was then admitted to Willow Hill by their mother, Hester Frump, where Ophelia supposedly ran away and hasn't been seen since. In the Season 2 finale, we begin to get some answers when, to make up for burning Goody Adams' spellbook and keeping many secrets from her daughter, Morticia gives Wednesday a journal that belonged to Ophelia as a gift, an act of goodwill. When our pigtailed protagonist flips through it and examines her aunt's journal, he has her first psychic vision in a long time of a very brief glimpse at the back of a white-haired woman's head. She immediately recognized the woman as her Aunt Ophelia. What Wednesday doesn't see is that Ophelia was actually sitting in a secret room of Hester's house while rocking a Coachella-style flower headdress, writing the words "Wednesday must die" on the wall in big red letters, which looks an awful lot like blood. And of course, we never get to see her face, but the question is, what is Ophelia's beef with Wednesday, given that they've never even met before? All these years, Morticia believed that her sister had disappeared and was likely dead. Never could she have guessed that Ophelia was locked away by their own mother. But why did Hester lock her daughter away in the first place? Does Hester want Wednesday dead too? If so, why? Given how she loves driving a wedge between Morticia and Wednesday, Hester did seem rather eager to have her granddaughter come stay with her for the summer. Is there a chance that she was luring her in to kill her? Although, at the same time, she does seem to have some modicum of affection for her granddaughter and didn't reappear in Wednesday's life until being summoned. Hopefully, Wednesday's grandmother will do something to protect her from whatever her long-lost aunt is cooking up. That said, Ophelia has been gone a long time and left a hole in Morticia's life. Her re-emergence is definitely going to hit this family like a bomb.
Another year at Nevermore ends in carnage and chaos.
What will happen to Nevermore Academy in Season 3? After Principal Dort is ousted and inadvertently killed for his unethical fundraising tactics in the penultimate episode of Season 2, everyone is growing increasingly worried about Nevermore's future. Of course, Larissa Weems was rather happy to witness Barry Dort's downfall from beyond the grave as Wednesday's new spirit guide, and reveled on how the board will now look back upon the Weems era with fondness. That said, she was right about one thing. Nevermore clearly needs a steady hand on the rudder, a leader of impeccable moral character who only has the students' best interests at heart. Fortunately, who fits that description is quite the mystery, and while it would be great to see Weems return for Season 3, we see her leaving as Wednesday's spirit guide in the finale. It doesn't seem like she has any plans of coming back to life. Meanwhile, none of the teachers in Season 2 appear up for the job, especially after Miss Capri is busy with Tyler. Professor Orloff was killed by Isaac. Perhaps Morticia could run the school, since she spent Season 2 as president of the school's gala fundraising committee and seems eager for an excuse to stay close to Wednesday. Both Weems and Dort led Nevermore with their own views of where outcasts belong in the world and how they should relate to normies, and both made major mistakes, although Dort's were obviously worse. It's definitely time for someone with a new, more nuanced perspective, but it's more likely that that job will go to a new character in Season 3. That is, if the school survives. Agnes hints that Nevermore will be Nevermore, so it's not clear if the school will stay open after seeing multiple murders, threats, and cons. But it seems like we leave Wednesday Season 2 in the middle of the school year due to the shutdown, which might also be temporary until they have a new principal on the premises. I guess that's a question for Season 3 to answer.
Say hello to your new master.
Will Wednesday finally get her psychic abilities back? It was really refreshing to watch Wednesday get to the end of her investigation without her psychic ability to lean on for answers. Since the time she spent studying Goody Adams' spellbook took place over summer break, we haven't gotten to see much of Wednesday at the height of her powers. As Wednesday's new spirit guide, Weems reminds Wednesday that psychic abilities are ancestral and that her estrangement from her mother was preventing her from getting her visions back. She and Morticia certainly made progress as they worked together to save Pugsley, with Morticia admitting she's kept too many secrets and Wednesday empathizing more with her mother's instinct to protect her. Fortunately, Wednesday is rewarded for that growth with the short vision she has of Ophelia, even though she's a long way from the more detailed visions she used to have. Plus, we should keep in mind that things with Morticia aren't exactly warm and fuzzy just yet, and more questions will arise now that Ophelia has come into play. It's possible that Ophelia's intervention would further drive a wedge between the mother-daughter duo, thus inevitably screwing with Wednesday's psychic abilities. But even if Wednesday does properly master her ability this time, what would that even look like? We've already heard from Morticia that psychic visions can't always be taken literally, so there will be some complex mysteries to solve regardless of any blasts from the past. Anyways, that's just our 2 cents. What do you guys think's in store for us in Wednesday Season 3? Let us know your thoughts and theories in the comments section down below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Otherwise, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.